All right, greetings, dear Scorpio. This is Tarot Lumination. Hello. It is your June 2019 Love and Relationship Report. It's a mini generic thing. And, if depending on how you're built, like sun, moon, and rising, see how this resonates to you. Watch all three if you have to and see which resonates most clearly. Things shift and change, as the planets and energies change. So I'm just throwing this out there and sharing it for like a weather report, and hopefully it helps you. Cards are already well shuffled in advance, but I love to go to the last second so they bear witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no reversals, but we are going to have an oracle later on at the end. Okay? We're also going to use the Tarot Lumination Crucible spread. It's on the understanding that there's you, Scorpio, a significant other, and a third entity called the relationship itself. I'll show you that in a little moment. I'll explain. I have to explain it. Like, hey guys, if you want to, just fast forward to the cards if you want. If you don't want to listen to all this stuff, okay? So but I feel I have obliged to put it on record, especially if there's a bunch of newbies watching this stuff. So with the Crucible spread, it's on the understanding there's you and a significant other, and this other thing that you guys own called a relationship. It's like a living, breathing thing. Okay, so you'll see that when we come into the spread. The crucible is a structure, like a heavy-duty ceramic bowl. It's used in laboratories to withstand the intense pressures of alchemical reactions, which is basically what happens inside human relationships. So that's why I use this crucible spread. Okay? Now, you know what? Let's just get on with the little astrodoodles here. It's a very quirky month for Scorpios. That's how I look at it. Because, when you look at Gemini June season, you think like, well, what's that to do with Scorpio? It's all about the Gemini Sag stuff, okay? And at the end, of course, it switches into the Cancer energy, but through the month, you might think, well, that's kind of quirky. But anyway, let me show you. First of all, let's just get the basic information out of the way. I'm not going to interpret this. I'm just going to give you this information. We got the new moon on the 3rd. We got all this going on. The 17th, we got the full moon. Sagittarius moon opposing the Gemini sun. 21st, the sun goes into Cancer. Also, Neptune flips into retrograde. So that's piling up. We got Neptune, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all retrograde. Heavy duty currents, like deep subcurrents, taking you back. Let's go on to the other thing here. This month, I decided to highlight some trigger points because there's a lot of trigger points in the month for everybody. This is the raw stuff, and I'll show you how it applies to you personally, okay? We have the Cancer-Capricorn axis invigorated all month long, here, and it is triggered by the lunar transits, okay? On the 13th and the 12th, the Libra moon, we end up with a day or two of a really strong T-square, okay? On the 18th, we got the oppositions again. On the 26th, we got the other T-square over here. So in themselves, these are really quite stressful alignments, here, and here. But how they affect everybody's another thing. In the middle, we have the sweet spot, okay? It just happens to suit you very nicely, okay? So I'm going to leave this here if you want to look at it. Just mark these dates if you're interested. But let's go to you. Don't be scared. This is the Tarot Lumination Astrodoodle for Scorpio for June. So those things that I made in little circles, I'm applying them on top of here. This is not like a real chart. This is like an aggregated chart for the month. So this is the axis that's basically hot all month. It's the Capricorn Cancer axis, different planets transiting through. It's a lot of pressure, and it's going to increase, especially in July when we get to the eclipses, okay? None of this is directly on your relationship sector over here or in the true love sector over here, but it is very strong, and it happens to be very sweet for you. The Cancer Capricorn energies are actually very harmonious for you, and it's part of this big, beautiful T-square, especially in the middle of the month. This big, grand water trine, okay? Very, very nice for you. See that thing there? This. That's really sweet for you, Scorpio, some way, shape, or form or another. Stress points, sure, okay? Over here, at the end of the month, moon moves into Taurus, okay? So that's going to amplify the relationship dynamic somehow or other, okay? All month, Neptune's in Pisces, okay? That's your fifth house of true love. Okay. So definitely something is going on here, but it's happening at really kind of profound levels because of Uranus and Pisces being like impersonal planets. So it might be hard to feel it in day-to-day life, what's going on in the lovey-dovey department. Over here, we got the full moon and the new moon, okay? So that's affecting the areas of intimacy, shared resources, value, and value. So you might feel this whole month in terms of how are you valued by a significant other? How do you value a significant other? How does that show up in terms of, attitude of gratitude, appreciation, and so on? Let's just get straight to the cards, all right? And we'll get back to that if we have to. So please take advantage of that, all that green stuff that I showed you. That's very valuable energy for you, Scorpio. Take note of the full moon and the new moon, of course. Pay attention to the stressors and the triggers, but otherwise enjoy the month as best you can. Please invite your invisible friends. Gather around you, okay, as we do this. And singles, you can watch this too if you really want to, but you have to allow for the laws of attraction, in action, and what are you attracting back to you from the universe? Because you are transmitting energy out to the universe and what comes back. And that includes the energy of relationship, okay? All right, let's have a look. So give me one more second. I need a little bit more. All right, this is good now. We're good to go. All right, let's have a look. Bless this deck. Bless every single card. Bless you, Scorpios. Bless Tarot Lumination, the whole channel, the platform, everything that allows us to do this. It's quite an amazing thing, really, when you think about it. Over here, what are you radiating? Think of yourself like a cell phone. Beep, 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 beep. Signals come out of you, okay? Thoughts are things. Feelings are feelings. You have an aura. Over here, what about the significant other? Over here, deep down inside of you, what are you radiating? Deep down inside of the other. This might be very subconscious. You might not even know what it is. And at the core of the relationship itself, this is the crucible. Think of this like a potted plant, for example, in a terracotta bowl, for example. And where maybe you are root bound, for example. Maybe there's a lot of pressure on the terracotta bowl to go like that, as the relationship wants to grow. Or maybe it's really solid, or maybe it's flexible. Maybe it expands as you expand. Who knows? We're going to have a look in a minute. Over here, what is growing out of this relationship? Think of it as a family business. You and the other, you own this thing, and it's like a living thing. This is a living thing, okay? It has its own aura, just like you, just like the other, and it grows. People recognize dynamics of relationships in you and the other, and they would call it your relationship. They would say things like, wow, Scorpio, you have a very intriguing relationship. And they would be seeing this. They're not looking at you. They're not looking at the other. They're sensing this. Let's have a look at the weather. So you've got the 5 of Cups. So at the moment, if you're in a situation where, let's say, what you're witnessing around you is the sadness, the tragedy, the grief, and let's say the flip side of love that all of us endure, that all of us have to face as we live through life and love relationship at any way, at any time, at any point. And that's all part of the process as we intimate and separate. You can have a perfectly intimate and very, very warm, loving relationship, even in the context of the 5 of Cups. If this is a shared grief, if this is a shared sorrow of tragedy, loss, pain, and suffering, and maybe you're witnessing it in the world around you, but you're also feeling it in yourself and the other and the relationship itself. To me, it's very important to be aware of that. You would not want to pretend this is not happening if it is happening. It's very, very, very important to acknowledge any aspects or elements of grief, sorrow, tragedy, pain, loss when it comes to true love. And because the chances are, Scorpio, like with any Scorpio, everything tends to be very extreme. So you've probably had a chance to experience ecstatic love in some way, shape, or another in your life in the context of love and relationship. And just like with all Scorpios, when that turns into the flip side, when things are not working out, when things are, let's say, challenged, okay, the health of the relationship is challenged perhaps, then that could easily translate into something just the opposite of joyful and delicious and climactic. It could be very sorrowful. It could feel very tragic, for example. Let me just show you something here. I'm just thinking of these like key dates here, these trigger points here. You might feel it in the health of the relationship. The health of the relationship, not necessarily you or the other, but the relationship itself. So if the relationship is showing signs or certain characteristics of tragedy, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but you're noticing that facet. Think of the relationship as a beautiful diamond, okay? It has its flaws, it has its cracks, and you're just looking around and you're enjoying it. Like every beautiful thing, think of it as a beauty mark, and you just noticed this deep, profound flaw in the relationship, like a tragic, irreparable flaw that lives with the relationship. Pretty much every relationship has something like that somewhere. To me, it just feels like this month it's become on full awareness. You're aware of the full beauty and all the love, and you're aware of the tragic aspects of what's not working. Let's have a look. What are you radiating here? Okay, strength, okay. This looks like, to me, it's like the strength to hold on, the ability to overcome the senses of around you. If you're sensing limitations, tragedy, grief, all the things that you've lost in life and love, and you're still aware that love is out there and around you. It's just that we're in a very extreme setting here. It's what might be happening where, like you, Scorpio, you understand fully well what's going on. In other words, we might have touched a nerve here by exposing the Five of Cups energy surrounding you and the other in the relationship. And that would be a kind of a grim nod of your head where you kind of go like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about, Tarot Lumination. Yeah, and it hurts. It really, really hurts. So what happens is it puts you in a situation where you realize in order to continue to be loving and to be loved, we have to go to the next level. It's up to you. Like, you've got this thing. There's so much love here, okay? But we're looking at the flaws right now, okay? So what do you do with that? It looks like the Strength card is, to me, it's an indication that you are wrestling with like the animal nature of yourself, the other, and the relationship, and how love and life works in this planet, and like the bitterness and the unfairness and the challenges that go on in love and relationship that trigger the raw animal in you. In other words, the angry animal that would need to be tamed. And then this would be the spiritual aspect of yourself, okay? It's just all your energy, but there's the raw animal, and then there's the spirit of you. How do you tame the raw animal so that you can get back to the little Two of Cups? That's always implied here, okay? The little Two of Cups of love, okay? Let's look at it this way. They're up there. If you're wallowing in the misery right now, don't forget, this is all love, okay? But it's the tragic side of love that you're witnessing, like a snapshot at the moment. And so the environment, the situation, the circumstances, to me, it feels like it's almost like you're at war with yourself to face the reality of what's actually happening here and how extreme it is. How do we continue to be loving and to be loved? Like, a lot of people would give up at this point. They would just basically say, I can't handle this. This sucks. I'm out of here. You know, why put up with this? But this is all part of it for Scorpios. And when it's extreme like this, okay, look at the full moon, for example, the new moon and the full moon, that's accenting the 8th and the 2nd houses of value and values and shared resources. You might realize how much you guys have and how much it is under stress and how much pressure it is, but it just happens to every relationship. So it's putting you in a position of having to come from the most spiritual and most divinely loving perspectives. Let's just highlight this. Let me show you. That would be here, the Neptune and Pisces aspect of true love. In other words, the beauty of this, the divine nature of the love, the divine nature being like divinely ordained, and then the tragedy, because the flip side of Neptune energy is often like tragedy, deception, pain, loss, suffering, betrayal, everything that is the opposite of the beauty, okay? So you could be sensing that at the moment. Also, with the Uranus energy over here, you might be getting deep, deep, deep rumblings about, how your relationships in general are being like upended, tipped over, like randomly in ways that you could never predict. So that puts you on the spot, constantly having to, you know, get it together with yourself where you can't operate at that level of a raw animal. You have to operate from the position of divinity, okay? Or else you lose it all. And so with so much love there, you don't want to lose it all. So you're dealing with it. You're doing what you have to do. What about the other? The Eight of Wands. Okay, so my feeling is that the Eight of Wands person over here is incredibly proud of you and how you're dealing with this, because the chances are they are extremely aware of this, all the beauty and the love that's there and all the tragedy of, the situation. I guarantee there's something sad about the situation, and it just happens to be coming into conversation right now. But to me, it looks like with the Eight of Wands, which is a very powerful card of like self-expression and the desire to express. And I'm thinking that in a romantic way, literally like getting really tuned in and turned on about you, about themselves, about the relationship, despite this, okay? Because they know that love is there, okay? And they're witnessing like the tragedy that you're having to endure, and they might not enjoy the fact that there is so much love, but you're experiencing the tragic aspects. But that is, in some ways, like a turn on. It's like, wow, I don't know how you can handle it because I'm aware of it too. I'm handling it. I'm doing everything I can because I get it. I see where you're coming from. I know this is very extreme. And in some ways, I feel like I love you more. Okay? Might not be able to do anything about it right now because of whatever is tragic about the relationship that impedes the relationship. But it looks good. Over here, deep down inside of you, the Knight of Coins. Well, I'm very happy to see this here because when I see all these pentacles here in the context of love and relationship, this is very noble, responsible, caring, generous, kind, deeply learned, and well-intended energy. In other words, you, Scorpio, are fully aware of what we just described here, but that's not going to stop you from this. You keep going anyway. This would be the energy of, I think of as like a good farmer who does what they have to do under incredible pressure if they have to now and again. Okay? And that's what it's like. When you're getting back to the real basics of love and relationship, the things that really count, things like kindness, patience, persistence, affection, good listening, being there for the other when they need you, them being there when they anyway, I hope you understand. Like being there for each other, okay? And the long-term investment that's required to keep going. There's nothing flighty or frivolous about what we're dealing with here. To me, this looks really profound, and it's taking you and the other party to the extremes of what can happen in love and relationship. And in so doing, you are being called upon to continue to be very responsible, very determined, very, very practical, patient, and coming with the very, very best of intentions towards the other, towards yourself, and towards the relationship. There's nothing but goodness here, okay? And it's hard-earned. You've probably learned the hard way, Scorpio, over the years about a lot about what does not work in love and relationship. You know a lot about the tragic side of things, the tragic side of love. That doesn't stop you because it's just that with a Scorpionic life, things tend to be very extreme, very intense, and a lot of others might not be willing to handle or live life to these levels of extreme. In other words, to enjoy all the beauty and the joy and the divinity and the divine ordination of a truly loving romantic relationship. At the same time, can you handle things when like when the current is against you, for example, And this is, to me, what I'm reading here is that the current is against you, so to speak, and you just happen to notice the things that are not working and how tragic it is. And that could just completely discombobulate someone else or numb you to being completely incapable and giving up and walking away. But you're doing exactly the opposite. It's almost like I, the Scorpio, I am here no matter what. I've invested a lot of this. I'm looking at the second house and the eighth house now in the Tarot Lumination Astrodoodle, and I can see you have invested a lot. So we're in this, okay? It's like the energy of homesteaders, you know, old-fashioned like black and white homesteader movies, or, you know, the pioneers of the United States type energy, like coming from nothing, building from nothing, and discovering they do have something, and then they keep going against all odds, okay? Let's have a look. What are they radiating here? And that is amplified by the other. In their own way, my feeling here is that this is like feeding on itself. It's like because the significant other is probably as aware of the tragedy and the sorrow of life and love and relationship for themselves, they probably have their own version of, you know, tragedy and loss in history in their life regarding love and relationship, just like you do, just like your relationship does. But is that going to stop them? No. In fact, what they're realizing is because of your deep, what I think of here is a deep soul commitment to overcome like the emotional fear and the desire to run away when you're faced with so much potential, you know, flip side of what is not working. In other words, if things are very challenging and at the same time all the good stuff, to me, it's just like they're actually getting turned on by this. It's almost like, wow, this is amazing. It is mind-boggling to me that my Scorpio can actually handle this at all, that they can handle me at all. I'm doing my best. I'm actually learning a lot from this, and I'm going to keep going because of this, because deep down, I am feeling inspired. Despite this, I know it's almost like, you know how, what's that expression? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's what I think is happening over here. And they're feeling that. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's just like, okay, I'll try to act this out a little bit. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're handling this. Like, gosh, they could have wigged out. They could have just run away. They could have just like given up totally because of that Five of Cups thing over there. But no, they're not doing it. And then you realize, the other person realizes, wow, this is amazing. They must really love me. Not just love me, but really love me. And it shows in evidence in terms of time, commitment, shared resources, good intentions to keep going no matter what. Wow, that's a turn on, especially when things are very, very challenging and both parties are dealing with the challenge. Like when the things are up against the wall, somebody, like, you know, and both sides, for example, let's say both sides are at the point of giving up because there's so much tragedy, and yet here you are. That becomes an inspiration. It's just like, for them, it's just like, oh my gosh, if they're going to hang in, they must see the value. I already see the value. So, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I have a lot at stake here. I don't exactly know what to do or how to do it, but I'm going for it anyway because there's so much love available. There's a Two of Cups available. Wow. Let's have a look at the core here. What's happening over here? Hold on. See, the core of the relationship, it's almost like the relationship is bulletproof. Almost completely bulletproof. It's almost like it doesn't matter how bad it gets, like on the outside or transiting events or like the Tarot Lumination thing about, you know, this full moon or that full moon or the nodes or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You guys, you have this. Have this. This is an incredibly valuable like characteristic of a relationship where like you guys, some way, somehow or other, you are learning or you have learned or you are going to continue to learn that you can create happiness yourselves. and through with each other. It doesn't, like, it really doesn't matter about this. Like, yes, there's tragedy and pain here, deep tragedy and pain here. But is that going to stop you? Is it going to stop the other? Is it going to stop Scorpio? No. The relationship just becomes stronger. Okay? You know, it's almost like the tragedy is building more light. It's building more strength. It's building more light. It's building more beauty. It's building more love. And that itself emanates like an aura. This is a really powerful card to have here. And my feeling is that you don't have to worry about this too much, Scorpio, right now, nor do they, because it looks like the relationship itself is already like this living thing, and the relationship is carrying you through this, okay? And you are learning that and realizing it as you go, okay? And you're realizing, wow. You don't even have to talk about it with each other. It's just observation. You know, certain things can happen here with very little communication because the relationship itself is doing the work, the carrying, and all the talking. Okay, with the Five of Coins, so what my feeling is that this is like a reality check where the relationship says very, very loudly and very clearly to you, Scorpio, to the other, that it doesn't matter about all this right now. Okay, let's just accept that there is, and we have both discovered, or you, Scorpio, and the other have discovered the flip side of the relationship and how truly challenging it can be at times and how truly tragic relationships can be at times, okay? But that's not going to stop you. What you have to understand is that you've made a decision to be together, you know, for better or worse. When you look at the other decks that carry the Five of Coins, there is a couple, and they have chosen to be together against all odds. Resources are out there. There is more to come, but you're going through a cycle, a period right now where you're like this, the emotional pain and tragic of this energy here that's surrounding you. It's not necessarily you or the other or the relationship, but you're swimming in the potential of tragedy and difficulties of conducting this relationship in the world around you. So that's why I'm sensing this here. And then what is being grown out of the Sun card here is the realization that this is still a living thing, okay? We're dealing with it against all odds. Like, if you look at the older images, it's like the crippled partner over here, the crippled partner over here. You still keep going. You know there are assets out there available to you, resources, time, energy, but it just means having to be willing to endure the tough periods, the tough patches, which can at times be extremely tough. Think of this like the energy of a cactus or one of those succulent plants, those kind of plants that can endure intense pressure and deprivation of like water, and especially water and food, but they're still very much alive, okay? They just need the tiniest little thing and they come back to life again. So to me, this looks like a chapter for you, Scorpio, where you're realizing the amazing thing that you guys have in the relationship itself, being almost completely bulletproof, indestructible, and you're witnessing how difficult it can be at times, okay? And yet you keep going. That's what I'm sensing here. All right, let's put this aside. I'm going to squash this up. I hope you get something out of this. Remember to watch for your sun, moon, and rising and all of that stuff. Reinterpret. And I'm going to pull a little oracle. This is for fun. It's just like a little treat, a farewell treat at the end of the reading. I'm going to use the Romance Angels deck. I know. I like it. I'm just saying I like the deck. I don't have any of her other decks, but I love this one. Okay? So just trust me. I'm just going to shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. It's already pre-shuffled in advance, but I'm going live again so that you're a witness. And then I'm going to call it out, and I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to pull your card. And we'll just see what it says. It'll add a little bit of perspective, like a nuance. And it doesn't come directly from Tarot Lumination. It's just from an oracle book. Okay? We'll see how that reads for you. All right, Scorpio. So give me a second here. I'm a little thirsty. Hold on. Let's see what it says. Let go of control issues. Interesting. All right, this is not a couple's reading, okay, Scorpio? But you know, Scorpio, how you can be very, 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 let's say, vested in controlling a situation. It's about power, and power comes through control. Okay? It says here, allow this situation to unfold naturally. Like if there's so much here that scares you because it's so potentially tragic and you're under a lot of duress, the relationship is under a lot of duress, but the relationship itself is bulletproof, but you're going through this period of, let's say, depletion or separation or sense of lack, and you're becoming very aware of it. That's very important to know that and understand what it is. And you might want to control that because obviously you want things to be happy, 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 happy all the time, just like everybody wants. But that's not actually how it works in real life. So we're dealing with reality here. Let me get the little book. And you know, when things suck, people want to control it and to make them unsuck. Okay? Let's have a look. All right. So, dear Scorpio, the romance angels have heard your prayers about your love life. Now it's up to you to allow their help to manifest by stepping out of their way. By trying to control other people or external circumstances, you'll only frustrate yourself and slow down your answered prayer. There are plenty of times in life that call for you to take charge, but this is not one of them. Of course, it's fine to have your preferences, practice your visualizations, and hold on to your intentions. All that stuff's good. Okay, we can talk about that forever on this channel if you want. Definitely ask the angels for your desires. This card is a reminder, however, that your prayer may be answered differently from what you had in mind. Be open to all possibilities and trust in God's infinite wisdom and compassionate love. Control issues are based upon fears that others, including gods and your angels and everything, won't live up to your expectations. That's serious fear, okay? This is also called outlining. I don't know what that means. I never heard of that before. This is called outlining, where you hand the universe a script of how you want it and everyone to behave. Outlining could cause you to overlook an even more beautiful way in which your prayers may be answered. Aha, I think I see what she's getting at there. So please call upon the romance angels to elevate your levels of trust so that you can enjoy the creative avenues by which true love comes to you. Okay, so the thing is about true love. Let me go back to this. I don't want to finish just yet. I just felt something at the very last second. This energy here is very, very deeply aligned with true love. True, true, true love. Deep, deep loving energy here, okay? So it's there, okay? And just for a moment in time, it is beautifully supported and lit up in the middle of the month by this alignment here. Let me show this to you. That's this thing here. This is super sweet for you, okay? Super, super good. So I have a feeling that this is a very subtle message here, like, you know, keep being yourself, Scorpio. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You've got this. You're very lucky to have what you do have and so on. But like when they were talking about outlining, controlling the script, submitting the script to heaven and say, okay, now heaven, now just deliver the script, deliver the finished movie so that I can live my life. But that's, you're trying to control heaven. You're trying to control angels. You're trying to control divinity. And that's really not what it's about. It's about surrender to the divinity, okay? So this is very beautiful here, but it might be hard to understand or live with in how it actually manifests, because we don't know. It's the energy of Neptune. It's very dreamy. It's hard to pin down. Also, of course, you have the huge upheavals and changes that are going to come for you over the next 7 years anyway, Scorpio. So you might as well start to get used to it. All right. So I hope this little card helps you. I hope it understands. And We'll see you again next time. All right. Thank you so much, Scorpio. All the best. It's a real pleasure to do this for you. By the way, I forgot. Check out the links below. Do the subscribes, the likes, the comments. It's very important for the channel. And I love reading that stuff. Also, if you really want to get involved, there's a membership option. Okay. Check it out. Links below. Bye-bye. All the best.